Kathleen Kennedy has doubled down again. I don't know what we're at now, triple, quadruple, quintuple. But she said at Star Wars Celebration, I'm not retired. I'm not going anywhere. I wrote this up over at fandompulse.com. You can find the link in the description below. So as I said, at Star Wars Celebration in Japan, she spoke to Collider and Screen Rant and told them, I'm not retired. I'm not going anywhere. This is, I think, the second or third time she has said this following a rumor that surfaced back at the end of February that she would be exiting the company. Matthew Bellany at Puck reported at the time, after years of speculation and polite urging from observers like me, Kathleen Kennedy has informed Disney, as well as friends and associates, that she will exit as Lucasfilm president by the end of the year, per 3 sources. Bellany went on to state that Kennedy planned to exit last year and even had an exit interview planned, but chose to stay on through 2025. So Kennedy had previously addressed this rumor in a very long interview with Deadline, where she said, the truth is, and I want to just say loud and clear, I am not retiring. I will never retire from movies. I will die making movies. That is the first thing that's important to say. I am not retiring. So obviously that is kind of sidestepping the report or the rumor that she would be exiting Lucasfilm. So she did actually address that. And she said, what's happening at Lucasfilm is I've been talking for quite some time with both Bob and Alan about what eventual succession might look like. We have an amazing bench of people here, and we have every intention of making an announcement months or a year down the road. We are in lockstep as to what's going to be, and I am continuing. So obviously it does sound like she might step down from Lucasfilm president sometime by the end of the year, obviously saying that it could be months or a year. So maybe next year, maybe 2 years, who knows? She clearly doesn't really let us know on that timeline, but it does sound like clearly she will be stepping down as president. But while she is stepping down as president, it sounds like she will still be there in some kind of fashion, producing films with Lucasfilm and likely Star Wars films, right? Because that's pretty much all they do now. With Willow being a dead brand and her basically killing off Indiana Jones in that most recent film that they did. Nevertheless, she went on and said, I'm producing the Mandalorian movie right now, and I'm also producing Sean Levy's movie, which is after that. So I'm continuing to stay at Lucasfilm and looking very thoughtfully with Bob and Alan as to who's stepping in. So that is all underway, and we have every right to make that announcement when we want to make it. So again, confirming that it does sound like she is stepping down as Lucasfilm president, and they're looking for a successor. We do know that Lucasfilm did announce at Star Wars Celebration that Ryan Gosling will be starring in Sean Levy's film. It now has a title. It's called Star Wars Starfighter, and it's set 5 years after the rise of Skywalker. I believe this is likely Patty Jenkins' film, or it's picking up on Patty Jenkins' film. Remember, she was supposed to be doing a Rogue Squadron adaptation movie, and this seems to be in that same vein, calling it Starfighter, but now they're setting it 5 years after the rise of Skywalker. So I could see them kind of maybe repurposing whatever Patty Jenkins was working on, although last year, March 2024, they said that Patty Jenkins' film was still on the table and that she was still potentially developing something with them and working on that Rogue Squadron film. We'll see if that's the case or if indeed the script got repurposed here. I'm sure we'll hear rumors and rumblings about that over the coming months, etc. Back to Kennedy's interview with Deadline. She went on to reiterate that there is no chaos behind the scenes at Lucasfilm. She says, chaos? There's never been any chaos because we know exactly what the plan is, and we've been talking about it, as I said, nonstop for the last couple of years because for obvious reasons, I'm not going to be here forever. So I think that makes it very clear that everything that they've done has been planned. I know there's been rumors and stuff about that, oh, we weren't doing this intentionally. No, she's been talking about what she's been wanting to do to Star Wars since the beginning. I think back in 2015, she did this Fortune magazine event that they put on, and she talked about how she was going to try to reshape the Star Wars audience, and she was going to do that by injecting feminism into it, and that's exactly what she has done, and it has gone according to plan, and people have vacated the franchise because of it, because of what she has done, and people aren't watching Star Wars to the extent that they were when they first released The Force Awakens. You can see at the ticket sales, the box office grosses, they've all been on decline. They lost money with Solo. I have a feeling that they might lose money with this Mandalorian film as well, depending on what the budget is. If they kept the budget down, they might make some, but I have a feeling it's not going to do well. I have a feeling it probably won't do as well as Solo. I just don't think that the interest is there anymore. And you can see that also with their Disney Plus TV shows. They've seen the Disney Plus subscriptions actually go up over the last couple of years, and viewership for their Star Wars shows has gone down. And it's gone down significantly. The most recent Star Wars show that just came out, Skeleton Crew, I think it had the worst viewership we've seen of any Star Wars show. And before that, it was The Acolyte. And they actually canceled The Acolyte, did not renew it for a second season because the cost structure didn't match the viewership. They didn't get enough viewers. They didn't get enough people subscribing to watch that show for what it was costing them. So they were losing money. They're losing money on Star Wars, I think, now. And I think they've admitted that. Anyways, Kennedy goes on and says, George asked me 13 years ago to step in, and now I'm looking at who's going to replace me. And as I said, we have a bench of people internally to handle the business, the creative side. The job has grown also since I stepped in. There was no streaming. There weren't a lot of things that we're involved in right now going on, so it has grown. When asked when a change at Lucasfilm might occur, she said, we'll probably make an announcement months or a year out, and I have every intention of sticking around to help that person be successful. I'm already producing the Mandalorian movie, and Sean Levy is after that. She then noted that previous reports and rumors were just that, rumors. Any discussion previously about me retiring or quitting or any of those things, that's complete rumor mill, because through all these reports, I've just continued doing my job and continuing my contract. Nothing unusual. It all has just been manufactured. When asked if she was being pushed out, she said, that is absolutely not the case. It could not be further from the truth. And everything that we do inside of Lucasfilm is in lockstep and in communication with Disney. We all know what's going on. The communication has been completely collaborative, as you would expect. This is a big piece of business for them, and they want to empower me to help them make that decision and that choice. I'm doing that. Later in the interview, she was asked if she might stay at Lucasfilm for another 8 or 10 years, and she said, I don't know if I'm going to say that, but yeah, it's possible. So she could be at Lucasfilm into her 80s, potentially. Still producing films, making movies with them, even though she might not be president. Finally, on whether she plans to step down as Lucasfilm president this year, she said, we really don't know at this stage. There's so much going on, Mike. I don't know. I would wager that she probably wouldn't even do it this year just to spite Mike, or just to spite, Matthew Bellany, not Mike Fleming Jr., who she's talking with at Deadline there. So I could see Kathleen Kennedy doing that. I feel like that's something that she would do. She then concluded, making it clear that if and when she steps down and leaves Lucasfilm, it will be her decision. She says, it's my decision. This is 100% my decision. So I don't expect anything to improve over at Lucasfilm with Kathleen Kennedy as president. And the fact that they are going to be keeping her on in some fashion, I think indicates that things over there are not going to improve anytime soon. They have people over there that I think don't understand the magic that is Star Wars. Even Jon Favreau, I think he has decent ideas, but he fails to execute them and almost subverts his initial ideas to begin with, and kind of ruins it. You see kind of sparks of that in The Mandalorian. There's like baptism scenes and things like this, but then he kind of undoes them all with like a monster coming out of the water to attack and all of these other things, and it just kind of loses the spark, the force that it potentially had when he was making it. And I haven't seen any creatives really kind of capture that at all over there. Even in like single episodes or anything like that, there just really is devoid of the magic that is Star Wars. And I think George Lucas has even talked about this. He's like, the first 6 are mine, and anything else, they've just kind of gone completely off the reservation. And I think that is an accurate assessment. And you look back and you look at some of these old reviews about Star Wars, you even watch the original trilogy, and you can see the themes, the symbolism that are in those films that made us the reason why we love those films so much. And it's just completely and utterly devoid in these recent creations from Lucasfilm. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that the people over there don't have any faith. They don't have any faith, and they will not be able to recapture the magic of Star Wars until they get people who do have faith over there. But let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, and to always, always speak the truth.